Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Shirlea North from North Star Physical Therapy. And this is a very special podcast episode for myself. I am recording this in the month of December 2024 for those that listen to this later on. But I really want to take this podcast to really reflect on 2024 and what has developed personally and professionally in order for me to do my best to deliver the best podcasts, the best medical advice, and the best collaboration, and advocacy advice that I can for my listeners. So I want to take the time with this podcast to, again, go over the journey of North Star Physical Therapy over this last year, reflect a bit on it, and then also how to move forward into the next year. I think that as personally and professionally, it's just that time of year. It's the end of the calendar year. We're all looking at, wow, what has occurred over this last year? What can I do better to kind of prepare for the New Year's resolutions? I want to encourage you and challenge you that it's more than just a resolution, more than just, I'm going to go to the gym more often starting in January, and I'm going to be doing a better diet, blah, blah, blah. It's more of how can I live with my optimal health? And that's not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, all the leads. So a little kind of intro for those that don't know me. I am a physical therapist by trade, and I specialize working with those with pelvic floor or pelvic health issues as well as lymphatic issues. So within pelvic health, pelvic floor has really just boomed out there, I think, with the advent of all of these social media, podcasts, of Instagram, X and Facebook and all that stuff. We're really getting out there as providers to help educate the general public, because sometimes the medical providers aren't doing a good job about it. We don't want to poo-poo them, so much, because they need to know a little bit about everything, especially primary cares and internal medicine providers. But we need to be better as a medical community, and to help educate the client directly is, I find, the best way to refer for my services for me to help you. I specialize in pelvic health. I also specialize within lymphedema and lipedema. And I have found that merging those two specialties together has really helped benefit the overall optimal health of every individual I work with. And I am a physical therapist, so I do treat low back pain, shoulder pain, neck pain. I have a specialty within the first decade of my clinical experience within neurological conditions like Parkinson's, MS. And with that, helped gear that holistic approach to go into pelvic health and go into lymphatic health, because there was just more that I could have done that I want to educate myself better on so I can provide the best services. And that's how it kind of shaped into North Star Physical Therapy. I was a clinical director in my last full-time employment before starting North Star Physical Therapy. So I know, a lot of the behind the scenes, insurance-based care and all that stuff. I helped direct employees underneath me throughout COVID, for their family, work life, balance stuff. And I was just realizing I wasn't doing that for myself. And being a working mom of 2 children, I was doing so much for other people, but not doing stuff for myself. And I don't sound selfish in that. I really had to soul search a lot and be like, what kind of woman do I want to portray as? What kind of mom do I want to be? What kind of practitioner do I want to be? What kind of wife do I want to be? Right? And just really soul searching, and maybe was a bit of a, third life crisis or something. I'm getting into my 30s, but I just really wanted to do better and be better. So I North Star Physical Therapy in the beginning of 2022, and doing a lot of the back work and a lot of side gig stuff. I did virtual therapy, did virtual consultations for a while. Fast forward to 2024, I was able to do that more full time, and made the big leap of faith in becoming a really true business owner. And so I was a mobile clinician here in the Northern Virginia area. So I was going to people's homes and delivering this care. So that was great. But I just still felt like I needed to do better and to see more people. And so at the beginning of this year, in March of 2024, I finally laid down some roots and got myself a brick and mortar. So I have my own office, and it's really been amazing to kind of grow in this space, to create it my own, really opening up the doors to everyone. And here in Northern Virginia, I think there's been such a great increase in pelvic health care and acknowledgement. Not a lot of lymphedema therapists here. There are a few, but not a lot of us. So being able to merge both has been really great. But then there have been an increase in providers treating more kind of pelvises, not just those with postpartum needs, which is needed. Don't get me wrong, from personal experience, I totally get it. However, those that had male anatomy, either born, assigned male at birth or identified as male, there's more therapists that have been treating men, but still not a lot of those that would treat within the LGBTQ plus community. And that is also a huge passion of mine, that as I go into 2025 as a practitioner here in the Northern Virginia, DC metro area, there are plenty of people in this area. I think we're on the other side of the election, which with whatever way you voted, it's great that you voted, but it is a scary climate for those within that community. I am a part of that community myself. I have immediate family members part of that community, and it's scary. And we want to make sure that we have providers that are not shy, that will provide that care for those folks so that they can live their optimal health. Everybody has a pelvis, everybody has a lymphatic system, and I am a small piece of the pie, but I want to be a part of their village to be their best, medical advocate as much as possible. So reflecting in 2024, just being able to go from a mobile business to a brick and mortar, to being able to literally open my doors to all people, it has been amazing. I still need to continue to grow. I think just learning and the ups and downs of just being a business owner. I walked into PT school over a decade ago, back in 2008, thinking, I'll just work for somebody for the rest of my career. Oh, like doing all the business stuff, it is too much. Like, I don't know enough about it. Blah, blah, and then fast forward, here I am, I'm doing it. I think for those that have taken the same leap of faith, keep going, stay motivated, because you did it for reasons. And every 3 months or so, I do a little kind of SWOT analysis. I do a little self-analysis, every 3 to 6 months of what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, what are my opportunities, and what are my threats, right? To not only personally, but also professionally. And you'll be, it's very interesting how those can go together. How sometimes I need to treat my relationships in my personal life is very similar how I do it in my professional life. And that's okay. And to be able to set up, if I need to set up boundaries, or hey, these are just conversations we're not going to talk about, or we're just going to respect and agree to disagree and move forward. But I found that, with it being, a big politically driven calendar year, because of where I live, right outside DC, it's been a little crazy. But as healthcare providers, we need to do and be better, and really to be able to be the best advocate for our clients. So yeah, getting into, the personal growth and professional growth has gone really hand in hand. This last year has been a bit of a roller coaster emotionally. We had a very close family member that got diagnosed with cancer, and 6 months later, she was gone. And going through that literally during the biggest uptick of my business was really hard. Being there personally, literally holding her hand within chemo treatments and driving to and from treatments, really being involved on a daily basis, being able to be there for my spouse, to be able to be there for my kids, and to be able to be there for my clients. And I noticed myself start kind of slipping, where am I for myself? and being able to really have a good communication relationship with your partner or spouse, or with a family friend, or with a friend that you can turn to really be able to either break down, and be vulnerable, and then also somebody that can hold you accountable. I would feel a bit of a hypocrite when I would make, a plan for my clients to get some consistency in their life, right? Like they're coming to me with, a physical ailment, but sometimes it's driven by an emotional or mental issue or situation that physically is presenting, how it is when they walk in the clinic, but it really stemming from other things. And I see that a lot within pelvic health. I'm seeing that a lot within my clients within the LGBTQ community, because it's more than just physical gender affirming care. There's hormonal treatments. There's being able to like bind and support soft tissue. And what does that mean with their outward appearance? And how, there's all the behavioral health and mental health piece to that that's outside of my scope of practice, but I need to respect and appreciate that. And realizing like, damn, am I doing that myself? So am I doing the consistency that I'm asking my clients to do? Even if it's just being, twice a week or 3 times a week of any kind of self massage or any kind of vagus nerve stimulation to kind of help reset the nervous system, stretching, strengthening, biomechanic, awareness. Those things that clinically, it makes sense if we're consistent, we're going to meet goals. But I was realizing I wasn't even doing that myself. So in order for me to be a better clinician, I need to be able to look inward and really see and kind of treat myself. Over this course of this year, I was talking to a friend of mine who is a personal trainer. And I'm like, look, I need to be able to take off my clinical hat and put on my client hat and be the client. And I need to be more physical. My physical health was kind of going down a little bit as well. And even though I was really good about, making an annual physical appointment, going to dentist every 6 months, doing all of those things. But there's a time in between, like, when am I doing anything for me on a monthly, weekly, daily basis, and just going into the grind? And I feel that we can make the time. I feel that within this environment now, if COVID didn't teach us anything about self-care, I don't know what will. And if going through a family tragedy of losing somebody and grieving doesn't give you a new perspective, I don't know what will. By taking the leap of faith and going from being a W-2, employee within management position, and you being vulnerable and taking a leap of faith and starting your own business, going from the ground up, doesn't tell you enough about self-care, I don't know what will. So I did all of those things, and I tend to do everything at once. And I really need to be able to take a step back and be like, okay, what do I need, right? And it may be something really super small. It might be for when I go from one client to another, I'm going to take like 5 deep breaths. When I'm in my brick and mortar, for me to be able to take a bathroom break in between every other client for my own pelvic health, that's what I need to do. If I need to be able to reschedule things where I can actually have a lunch break, that's what I need to do. Little things like that can really change the course of your emotional and mental capacity that day, because I go home and there's 2 kids that they need to be carted to and from their sports events. They need, their attention as well. My spouse needs, attention from me. The house needs to be cleaned. And then I would find myself in the end of the night and be like, what the hell did I do for myself, right? So I took a leap of faith, called up my friend and said, look, you're a personal trainer. I need to do something for my own body physically, and that will help with my mental, mood afterwards. You feel like you did something, and it doesn't need to be that long. So I was able to really start that journey for myself this last year. And honestly, within the last quarter or so, right around September, end of September, I decided to finally join a gym. There's a local gym that actually does do some youth strengthening training. So I was able to bring my kids. They're old enough. Able to bring my kids. They can do things for themselves for their sport, which was really great. But then at the same time, I can really do a really good resistance training / cardio workout with a group of similar people my age and, job and kid situations and things. And I was able to also bring my spouse in. Now we're doing it together. And that has really helped for the consistency. I don't know the last time I worked out more than 3 days a week. I was a gymnast in my childhood, a competitive gymnast. So I was used to going to the gym every day, right after school till about 9 o'clock at night, Monday through Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday, there's a competition. I would go do that. Or it would be like all day training, quite literally all day, every weekend. So I went from that for a good chunk of my life and then had to retire because of the injury. And then, I did some sports and stuff like that, intramural stuff, but that really hit me hard. And then I hadn't really worked out like that since. I did a little bit here and there throughout my pregnancies, but not a ton because I was in PT school for one of my children and I was fully employed with the other one. So it's like I was just super busy and wasn't taking the time for myself then. And so I'm like, gosh darn it, I am about to walk into my 40s and I really need to take care of my health now. A lot of research is saying, to be able to be in a better health in your 20s and 30s will help within, reduction of chronic illnesses or symptoms of for when you are in your 50s and 60s. Like it's too late almost to start something in that part of your life and you want to be able to do something now, and we can. There is time. We need to be able to say no thank you, or maybe just, that's a great idea, but we're going to look into that, maybe next month. It is okay. It is okay to say no. That was my big mantra. It is okay to say no to other people because I need to say yes to me, right? I need to say yes to my optimal health. And so, in September, I started going to this gym, and now I can honestly say I go consistently at least 3 to 4 times a week, if not a 5th time recently. And it's been great. I'm sore when I'm doing my stretches and doing my things, but I'm able to take off my PT hat. And all the trainers there know I'm a physical therapist. I've even talked to them about my specialties, and they've been great and supportive. And we've been able to cross-refer, which is fantastic business-wise, but it's been great. The mutual respect of like, look, I'm a PT, right? I have hypermobility syndrome, and you need to let me know. Like, you cue me if I'm doing weird and funky, right? Like, I'm human too. I may not do a squat the best. I may not do a push-up the best, right? My injuries that I had in my gymnastics career 20 to 30 years ago are reaping their ugly head right now. Like, my knee is swollen right now from last night's workout, right? So it's been nice to be vulnerable with other practitioners and other clinicians that have like-minded understanding of like, you need self-care for yourself too. And that has made me be a better clinician. That has made me be a better mom, a better spouse, a better woman, and again, a better practitioner to everyone because I get it. I understand some things, and then there's some things my clients like, look, I'm going to respect it. I may not understand, but you teach me, right? Let's be open-minded here. So with all that being said, it's like the reflection of this year personally has been a lot of growth and development, and for me to be a better person and for me to be a better clinician to all my clients has been phenomenal, and to be a better business owner because you don't need to squeeze everything in one day, in 1 week, in 1 month. It is okay, and you don't need to apologize for anything, right? I have clients that come in saying, I didn't really do my exercises that much over this last week. Okay, tell me about it. What was that? What was the holdup? What was the hindrance? Was it a scheduling thing? Was it, something just out of the blue popped up that was a priority that you had to do? Like, let's talk about it. So that way maybe I gave you too much, or maybe we needed to be better at how to tie it into your daily basis. There are things that we can work on. It is not an exact science, right? We're all human and we are not perfect. And I think, as I have also talked to recently, other business owners within these specialties that have just started, and they're looking at me for mentorship and looking at me for like guidance and answering questions. I'm like, look, the goal is not to be perfect. The goal is just to get out there and you will refine your skills clinically and also within your business as you go along with it. And I need to practice what I preach too. It's now the holiday season. There is an ebb and flow to business coming in and out, and who's, answering their phones and all that stuff because you're busy traveling or whatever. And it's like, yeah, I might get antsy, but at the same time, you know what? They may be traveling or there may be other things going on. And they know that I'm the front of mind because I'm calling, I'm reaching out, and they will let me know when they're ready. I'd rather somebody get started with my services when they're ready to really commit than like half-ass it, right? So I think this last year in 2024, we are seeing what's going to be moving forward, yes, in the next couple of years within the medical space for those within the LGBT community. And know that here at North Star Physical Therapy, I'm here for you. I do, yes, in person within my brick-and-mortar, but I also have virtual consultations available for anyone around the country. And so I want to be a part of your village. I am here for you, for your gender affirming care, and for your pelvic health and lymphatic health. And all you have to do is just reach out. Feel free to check out my website or my social media. Feel free to reach out, and we can definitely set up a virtual consultation no matter where you are in the country, because we need to have more providers like myself that are willing to risk and to help. I'd rather do that than, that little slap on the wrist. It's like, no, I need to help somebody. There are plenty of people out there that need help, but not a plenty of providers that will actually do it. So I am one of those actually do it. Reflecting this year has been a huge, growth within my business in terms of what to do, what not to do. I've continued to learn. I make mistakes and I learn from them. It has been a huge growth within my personal life, with my kids growing and maturing, but also with doing what I need to do, taking the 2 seconds of like, I don't need to bring work home and be like after dinner on my laptop doing stuff. It's like, that can wait till tomorrow, to be able to really, isolate time of like, this is business time, this is clinical time, this is personal time, this is, family time, whatever that may be, in order to really get a more well-rounded and to kind of slow down. We don't need to be in the speed of like bees running around or chickens with their heads cut off, right? We don't need to be running around and being like crazy, one day at a time. And it's so much easier said than done, but then not beating yourself up if you don't achieve that every day. Tomorrow's a new day and we need to move forward. We need to stop beating ourselves up. And we need to do the best that we can with what tools and what resources that we have. And so I want to be a resource for those out there that are listening to this. Please spread the word, guys. Whoever is listening, I challenge you that maybe this is part of your New Year's resolution, is to spread the word about pelvic health and lymphatic health. Spread the word about North Star Physical Therapy. That, feel free to look at my Google page. You'll see the reviews. You'll see the testimonials. I'm here for you. And there's a loved one that may be saying some things throughout this holiday season that you're like, maybe you should talk to somebody. Like, feel free to give them my information. A small business grows with the best word of mouth referrals, right? I can sit there and try to market to practitioners. I can sit there and try to market to other allied healthcare professionals, all I want. But it's you, it's the clients that really help spread the word. And I thank you so much for that. And I really wish for all of my personal journey and my professional journey that I went through over 2024. I hope there are some people that can relate to that. And I hope that you can see that we're all in this together and we are not perfect. And there are mistakes, there are lessons, there's grief, there's happiness, there's everything. This is life. This is life. There isn't ever a time. I don't know how many times I say, okay, next year is going to be calm and relaxed. I say that almost every single year, and every single year there's some clusterfuck that happens. Every single year there's something that occurs that makes me having to do a couple of things all at the same time. And you know what? We got to roll with those punches, right? So becoming, an every year we get older, and my parents are getting older with their things that are going on. My kids are getting older with their things going on. But self-care is really the best thing, and that looks so different. And so I want to also encourage those to just reflect for a moment on your way to work, on your daily walk, when you're just in the bathroom for a moment, having yourself, or in the shower, right? It's I almost have the best ideas in the shower, but have those ideas of, okay, how did this last year go for me personally, professionally, financially, mentally, physically, emotionally? Again, all the leads. How did it go? Do your own SWOT analysis. What was the strength of the year? What was the weaknesses of the year? What are the opportunities that I can have within this last year? And what are the threats? What are the things that really threaten that progression? And write it down. I have my little digital pad, Remarkable, and I have things saved from when I first started my business 2 years ago. And every 6 months, I do that little analysis, and it's amazing how much changed. And also it's amazing that there's sometimes this underlying tone of just being better and staying motivated, right? And so I encourage you guys to do the same. Maybe the New Year's resolutions aren't necessarily, I'm going to go to the gym, right? Yes, it's great to stay physically active, but that's so, I'm going to go to the gym and have a better diet. Everybody hits the gym really hard January and February, and then it kind of peters out, right? And if you're going to the gym, go for it and do it. That's fantastic. But we also miss that piece of that self-reflection, that self-analysis. And if you need some professional help to do that, find a mental health and behavioral health therapist near you that you can relate to, that you can be vulnerable with, that you can talk to, or maybe your partner or a friend or family member, somebody that you can talk to, and also something that you can write down, because that is something you can go back to, and then you can really see, wow, I've had a lot of growth, or there's been some change. Or you know what, maybe I was in a good spot and I stayed consistently there because of how I was able to set up either boundaries or communication or whatever the case may be. So I just really encourage folks to take that time to reflect, take that time to get a good analysis of how 2024 went for you. And then that way that can help spur on how you start 2025. And I just wish everybody the happiest of holidays and the happiest conclusion into 2024. And happiness, I mainly will maybe say more joyful. Right? It doesn't mean it's all, rainbows and butterflies, but sometimes there is something to be said of I gained a lot of good perspective within that sad period of time. I lost a loved one this year, and it was extremely sad, but there was a whole new perspective on life and what was important. And maybe I'm too Irish. We do, we celebrate life, right? It is very sad and there's a death, but we celebrate life and we celebrate a new perspective on our life because of that. And it's a good learning experience. And so I'm just really encourage those that have gone through a hard time this last year, that you are on the other side of it, that you will continue to grow in that, and that you hold the ultimate decision of what your optimal health is. And there are providers like myself that will walk alongside your journey. So again, I wish everybody happiest of holidays, a great conclusion to 2024. And let's hit 2025 the best way we know how. Take care, everyone.